G'day. Today's topic, VPA, Vendor Paid Advertising. And yep, it relates pretty much to the real estate industry only, but I tell you what, it's a subject that needs discussion and we're going to look at some of the key points of that today. I'm David Seymour. This is the nitty-gritty of selling. I've never really understood why some salespeople, when it comes to getting listings, just jump in and freely offer to pay advertising for a vendor's property. Why would you do that? I just don't get it. Why would you commit to spending maybe $500, maybe $1,000, maybe a couple of $1,000s towards marketing and not have the vendor paid for it? Okay, I do know the answer, and it's pretty lame if you ask me. This is my opinion, okay? But a lot of salespeople will chuck in VPA, vendor paid funding, or advertising, because they want to get the listing. And so they are in a situation where they're not the agent of choice, they're the agent of chance, and it's a bribe just about to get the listing. But why put yourself in that situation? You need to be a better negotiator than that. Okay, here's the key things that you need to say to people to get vendor paid advertising. And it's simple and it works. Vendor paid advertising is not a cost, it's an investment into getting the best price for their property. With good VPA, the thing is that you can do better photos, you can do video, you can do social media, you can do online, you can do paper, you can do signboards, you do flyers and all those sort of things. So the more that they pay, the bigger the campaign. And guess what? The bigger the campaign, the more exposure that property gets, the chances are they're going to get a better price for their property. So why would they not want to invest in getting the best price? I hear you saying, oh, but the vendors go on about the big commissions that we get. Well, here's the thing with that. Yes, you get a good success fee if, and that's if, you manage to sell the property and get it unconditional, and then yes, that commission, or I'd like to refer to it as a success fee, is then paid. But here's the thing, why would you pay for the advertising up front, not knowing whether you're going to sell that house or not? And even in today's market, I know that there are properties sitting out there that have been on the market for maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 months that haven't sold. And partly relates to the size of the advertising campaign, or the limited amount of advertising. And so if you, the salesperson, are paying that advertising and then you don't sell the house, and then after the sole agency period the vendor's a bit pissed off with you and they up and leave and go to another agency, you have spent $500, $1,000, whatever, $1,500, whatever it is, of your money and get nothing for it. Why would you do that? It's stupid. It's actually poor salesmanship and poor negotiation. You need to change your ways. Something I used to like saying to people is, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I presume you have your house insured? And they go, yes. I said, so you're prepared to insure your house in case you have a loss against it, but you're not prepared to make an investment into the marketing of your property to get the best price? Why is that? It's a really simple question to ask people. Why would they do one but not the other? The thing being is that what you need to do is get their input into it. You need to have what they call skin in the game. The vendor needs to have skin in the game so they can relate to what's going on out there. Now, of course, with good vendor marketing comes the requirement for you, the salesperson, and your office to provide a schedule of what it is that advertising actually is. Is it 5 half pages in the property guide or the property press, or quarter pages or whatever? How many pages adverts? How many weeks does that cover? What does it include on the online advertising? Which websites is it on, and what sort of adverts are they? Are they premium, or are they superior, whatever they call them, classics, the bigger adverts, or Are you doing a social media campaign as well? Are you doing how many photos? What sort of a video are you going to do? Where's it going to be released? And that release could be on social media, could be on YouTube, could be a link on the online sites. You know, and it's going to be your window cards, it's going to be your flyers and your signboard. But you need to produce a document that shows for X amount of dollars they get Z amount of advertising. If you can't produce that, then it's really hard to get the vendors to buy into it. And the best thing that you can do is actually have 3 or 4 different campaigns. So you can have your really expensive one up here that might be $5,000, $7,000 and it's gold this and premium that and everything else. Or you can have the budget one down here, which is maybe $500 or $750, which is just some photos and some online advertising. You know, you guys will know what works for you in your office in the areas that you're in. But by having a range, you'll generally be able to sell quite easily in the middle upwards, because the vendor then doesn't want to be seen as a cheapskate and take the cheapest all the time. Here's something else to have a think about. If you as a salesperson want to put some radio advertising in place, or you want to do a profile branding sort of exercise in the local newspaper or the property guide or whatever it may be, the thing with those are that you have to pay for it. You can't go to the radio station and say, listen, I want to do all these adverts and I'll pay you if I get some business out of it. It doesn't work on that basis, does it? And it's the same principle as selling your vendor advertising. They need to understand that they've got to invest into that, and the chances are they'll actually improve the exposure of their property. Yes, it's a cost, but it's also an investment in getting the best exposure. And look, the other thing is, you can say, you're going to advertise your car, short of only putting it on the side of the road only with a for sale sign in, which is limited exposure, compared to putting it into the newspaper or online advertising, which you have to pay for when you do it, not when you sell it. There's always a cost. But that cost needs to be considered as an investment to give it more exposure. Just think about it along those lines. But it's in your interest and in the vendor's interest to get VPA. It doesn't matter how much it is, get them involved in the whole process. And again, by just showing them what it is they get for their money, then they're more likely to actually buy into it, rather than just go, oh, could you give me a few $100s for advertising? That's easy for them to say no. But look, if you show them what they get for their money. At the end of it all, when you get a deal and it's going to go across the line, subject to maybe an ifs and a couple of ifs and buts, at that point, if you absolutely need to, you may, and I use the word and I underline it, may consider refunding some of that VPA if it's going to get the deal done. Not my favourite approach, but it's better than you investing as a salesperson and doing the VPA yourself. Get the money up front, or even get it in installments, but get the money up front, and then if you really need to refund it, you could. But at least you've had skin in the game from the vendor to start with. Look, that's my take on VPA, vendor paid advertising. I'd love to know your comments. Feel free to comment below. Give me your thoughts, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. I'm David Seymour. That's the nitty of gritty of selling for today.